Hey YouTube, coming at you with the viewer submitted team from Uncle Augustin in the Galar Cup, Ninetales Double Dragon. So Fire and Double Dragon strategy, nothing revolutionary. Use Gudra to draw out the counters, clean with Ninetales, and last mon with Hakmo and annoyed the opponent to death. I played very tilted because the game screwed me over the first set, not in the recordings, that it was basically frame drop down. I needed some help from my opponents to win. Though I think the team works, I didn't really know how to use Shadow Ninetales. I both underestimated and overestimated how attack weighted it is. When I thought it was a glass cannon, no, it's not. I got disappointed by its damage output. When I thought it was bulky, I got disappointed by how it takes hits. And in games when it was my win condition, I lost. So any advice on how to use your mascot was appreciated. Okay, so I think I can do that. So yeah, the strategy, very straightforward strategy. Gudra draws out your ice or your fairy. Ninetales resists ice and fairy. Hakmo roams free in the back. Very straightforward team idea. With Ninetales, so let me just bring up its stats because it's not a glass cannon. It's got okay bulk, but you're right, with the shadow it does not have a ton. So Ninetales, for those of you who want to use it, it's actually closer to think of it like a Quagsire. If you've used Quagsire, 115 attack, 133 defense, 126 stamina. So it's very similar to like the Quagsire role where you can like take some moves, but you probably can't take two moves. That's basically how Ninetales plays. Like you can definitely take one move, pending is not super effective, but then the second move you're most likely gone. When you add the shadow, which is what you have here, you add 20% to the damage and take 20% away from your defense. So what you're doing is you're essentially adding, moving this into the, away from the Quagsire range and more into your like Machamp range, where the damage is still good, but you're not going to one-shot anything, but your defense goes down, that you're starting to take like a lot of damage on these moves where like one move is getting close to taking you out. Won't always, but it's getting close to taking you out. So that's what the shadow does. Now, you have a problem in the fact that you used Weather Ball and Scorching Sands. The Fire Spin does good damage. The damage adds up, and Fire Spin Weather Ball is not a bad combo, but the problem is Weather Ball is only a 35 energy move, and it only does 79.2 damage, even with the shadow and same type attack bonus. So doing 80 damage is not going to take anything out, which is why I run Overheat. Overheat is 5 more energy than Scorching Sands, but 90-ish more, actually over 90. 91.2 more raw damage. So the thing about Scorching Sands versus Overheat is Scorching Sands is basically only valuable when you're against something like a Toxapex that would resist Overheat, but at the same time you would be doing super effective with Scorching Sands. That's when it's valuable. It's not valuable basically in any other situation. A resisted Overheat is going to do more than a neutral Scorching Sands. So when a Scorching Sands, because it's non-stab, same type attack bonus, you only get 96 damage, you're not going to be one-shotting anything with that either, right? So I think why it felt like it was not bulky and not hard-hitting is because, yes, its attack is quite low. With the shadow bonus, you're at like Machamp range, but again, Machamp with Cross Chop is not going to one-shot anything, right? And it kind of plays similar to Machamp in that way. Fire Spins are going to add up. Weather Balls will chip, but that combo is not going to one-shot anything. Where you really one-shot stuff is if you throw an Overheat, but you don't have Overheat on this, you have Scorching Sands. So because the defense is lowered and the attack is not like a 148 and Weather Ball's a 35 energy move, that's why it does not feel overpowered at times. But the Fire Spin Weather Ball combo does add up. But let's take a look at how you played with it. So okay lead. I say nice farm actually, because you can see like the Fire Spins are just starting to chip on a Mandibuzz, taking the Dark Pulse on the Gudra, trying to draw something else. Let's see if they try and catch here. Nope, they're going to get to another move. Now Dark Pulse will put this into the red, but you're just letting this go. Now pro for you is you have Thunder Punch, and they gotta like throw a move because they're not going to be able to farm you down. Con is this thing's tanky. It then gives up a switch into Drapion. So that's a pretty slow switch. That being said, yeah, it's really slow. But Drapion's very tough, and it's tough for Ninetales. And I've actually got a team coming up with Ninetales maybe tomorrow or later today, where same thing happened. Like Drapion causes you problems. So coming in with Hackmo, which is I think a great idea. Gastrodon in the back. Oof. So going to Brick Break, because Brick Break lowers the opponent's defense, I believe, or attack. Defense, right? Yeah, lowers the defense, and now those are adding up. And the thing is, like, you don't need to come Kuja or try and catch or do anything cute. Fire Spins are going to add up on a lower defensed Gastrodon. You tried to get cute. Okay. You don't need to. Like, I think you could have just done that. Yeah, so shielding here is the right move because you just need to Fire Spin down. I think throwing a move is actually probably wasted. Well, because they're not going to shield this. That's the thing. Yeah, this is so low that it's just Fire Spin range. It's not. It's just a Body Slam, and you can live a Body Slam. But the problem is, I'm worried that, okay, you're going to Fire Spin down anyways. Yeah, so two things there. Like, you should just recognize that it's a Fire Spin down for both of those scenarios. Like, they have two shields, and they're at, like, red and yellow health. You just Fire Spin down. And yeah, you can live one Body Slam because Body Slam is not a good move. But yeah. So the only problem is if you catch here, you're catching an Icy Wind. The Astonishes are adding up because, again, your defense is 20% lower. This will probably one-shot, so they're going to shield. Okay, not quite one-shot, but close. I thought Shadow Drifloon would be a little glassier than that, but it's not. Okay. Good news is that was fast, and Power Up is resisted as well. But Power Up still hurts, and these non-stab moves are not going to add up as much. But, you know, they'll chip. So we'll get some chip damage in here with these Dragon Breaths and Aqua Tails, knowing that your Fire Spin will just take care of the rest. And we'll have to see what's in the back here. So good chipping with the Dragon Breath and Aqua Tails. Try and get this off before they get to a move here. A little off on the timing there, but that's okay. Should not matter in the long run because they're going to probably need to throw a move anyways. So this will take you out. Now, do they have a second one? No. And going to come in and get ahead on energy here, which is actually not a bad idea when you have to try and run with Hackmo anyways. Coming in here to getting ahead on energy to then being able to, like, lower their defense is actually a pretty smart idea. You might want to start shielding though. Because if it's a Mud Bomb, this is starting now to take you in fast move damage range almost. You need to start shielding. How much health is left on the Drifblim here? Oh no, Drifblim's already gone. So just fast move damage range. Oh, you can't leave a Quagsire with a... I guess they don't know what was in the back. Go Lurk. So Mud Slaps are going to hit. You got to get out quick, and you do, so that's nice. They eventually get into Gyarados, which is very attack heavy. Like, I would say the bait's not worth it here, but I feel like you could bait and get to 2 Aqua Tails. Okay, Jesus, they don't even shield. Okay, never bait. I always say never bait, and then I'm like, you should bait here. Okay, never bait. Grab that shield or take them out. You take them out. Out comes a Charge Bug. Electric is resisting all this. Gonna get another move off here. So, obviously let this go. Doing super effective Fire Spins here. I would shield. My only concern is that they can potentially fast move you down both combo here. Because these Mud Slaps really add up. And I guess, I guess you want to shave shields for this thing because it does have a lot of energy. So maybe don't shield. And it takes a lot of damage. I just didn't know if they get to a second move. Okay, this should be pretty straightforward. Okay, Machamp, again, is one of these Pokemon that are going to really add up on the cross chops there, or karate chops if you stayed in. I guess where it gets a little tricky is if this thing just chips you and then gets into something that you can't deal with, which is, again, how you play that I think you just like chip it and then come in here, as opposed to like needing to land a Shadow Ball and then the Dragon Breath will add up. So I think they played it correctly just to chip you and then come in with energy. They're going to have a Shadow Ball. So if you let this go, it's going to take it to the red. And that's exactly what happened. You are going to try to 2-shield Hackmo in the back here. Going to instant swap because the counters are going to add up. You are obviously going to have to just shield everything here. Just going to try and go 2-shield Hackmo. You almost have to Brick Break, honestly. Because they're likely to shield anything, and now your attack's lowered too. So that they're going to respect you even less. I think you have to Brick Break to try and lower, because they're going to shield everything because your Ninetales is basically done. So I think you honestly have to just try and lower their defense and then land the Dragon Claw on the third one. So I would have lowered their defense a couple times with Brick Break, baits, and then got to the move here. But you don't have a shield anyway, so it does not matter. Okay, terrible lead. We'll go straight over here and they go straight into their fairy. Okay. This thing charges fast with Brutal Swing. It is the Shadow version, so let's see how much this does. That's the difference, I guess, between the Shadow and non-Shadow, right? Those fairy ones are really adding up, and that Brutal Swing is going to add up too. And with resisted Dragon Breaths, they can definitely live this. Ooh, this thing spams fast now with Brutal Swing. Okay. I guess Fairy Wind's so fast charging and Brutal Swings are so quick to get to now. Oof. So now the problem is you can Fire Spin down. They have to throw a Brutal Swing because Play Rough is resisted, but these Brutal Swings are going to add up really quick on Ninetales. See, this is why I don't see a point of throwing Scorching Sands here, because it's not going to do, it's going to do like 50%. This is why I don't think it's a good move. I think you just like bank that energy. I think you run over, quite honestly, I think you run Overheat. I think you bank that energy and then just go straight into Hackmo here anyways. This is when I throw Dragon Claw because unlike Drifblim, which is super glassy, Tuxpex is not glassy. So not that they won't shield, but they're less likely to shield. Like they should let this one go knowing that you have Scorching Sands. Yeah. And that's why I think the bait on this one is way more risky than the bait on Drifblim. Drifblim is super glassy. Drifblim cannot take Dragon Tail and Dragon Claw combos. So it's going to shield everything. So you can just lower its attack with Brick Break. Or defense with Brick Break. As opposed to Toxapex, which is very, very tanky. I can definitely take some moves here. So Quagsire comes in. Nice catch on the Ninetales just to sacrifice it. Trying to Dragon Tail your way out of this matchup. Don't throw the charge move. Don't throw the charge move. Okay, good. You are really close to the... You got a whole screen, my man. Don't go so close to the charge move. Okay, great lead. They're going to get out into something. That something is Drifblim. So the only problem with Drifblim running Astonish, yes, it does a ton, but it is slower charging than Hex. This is an Icy Wind. Now, if you think you can live an Icy Wind because it's a non-shadow, you let it go. If you don't think you can live it, you definitely shield because you want to keep that switch with Ninetales. At this point, they are just going to farm and try to shield whatever's in the back because that's basically their only win con. And given its weakness to fire and fighting, it's maybe another flyer. Oh, okay. I don't know what you're doing and I don't know what they're doing, honestly. I think you try and keep the alignment with the Ninetales on the Ferrothorn. And then them, I know Power Whip and stuff is resisted on the Hackmo. But if you have a Quagsire in the back and you know that your opponent has a Ninetales on the front, why do you not try to align your Quagsire on their Ninetales? Like they should have stayed in with Ferrothorn, tried to throw these resisted moves at you to chip you, and then just try to take you in the back after with the Ninetales, again, their Quagsire against your Ninetales. As opposed to leaving yourself super vulnerable here. Yeah, kind of a weird play by your opponent. Okay, Mandibuzz lead. We've seen this. First time you played it out, you chipped and then banked some energy. And the fire spins do add up, and we're going to do that again. Same play, banking the energy, taking a Dark Pulse. Last time they stayed in, this time they are getting out. This thing's going to farm you all the way down because they don't really need to worry about your moves. Dragon Breath's resisted. It takes a while to get to the non-stab moves, which don't hurt too much. Wow. Wow, what are they doing? Okay, they made 2 crappy plays here. 1, shielding a move. 2, throwing a move. Now, you have Scorching Sands. This is the time you throw Scorching Sands because they are half poison. So this will be super effective and take out the rest of it. You can either switch right away and just try and go 2-shield Heckmo, or you can chip with like Weather Ball here. And deciding to chip with the Weather Ball just to get this low enough. See it, like force them to throw maybe. Let this go and then try and 2-shield Heckmo. Again, if they're running double fairy, it'll be a little trickier to do this, but we'll see. Gotta shield Aerial Ace. You are half fighter, so you'll be super effective there. And they try to catch, and it's a Toxapex. And again, Toxapex is pretty tanky, so this will be a kind of interesting play out here. The Dragon Tails and Dragon Claws will add up. Again, I think this is a risky bait because they're less likely to shield. Yeah. But there is the argument to be made that it doesn't matter because you need these tails to add up. One thing I don't know is how much base damage a move does versus when you lower your opponent's defense. Maybe I'll just throw it in PV Poke and see what happens. So I may get distracted on your next battles here, but I think this is actually quite important because this will affect how I play a matchup out. Okay, let's just throw in Heckmo, and you are against a Toxapex. And let's get rid of Dragon Claw and just have Brick Break. So, Dragon Tail pre Brick Break does 6 damage or 5.1. Throw the Brick Break. The next damage is 7, so it just adds 1 full damage to the thing. 7, which is 5.9 through the third, and then it's... Oh wait, that's your shield. There's your Brick Break, and then it's what, 8? Okay. So 6 versus 7 versus 8. So every Brick Break boosts your damage by 1 on Dragon Tail. Now, Brick Break does 11 damage overall on Toxapex. 11 damage overall. And Dragon Claw does 21. So the difference is 10. So essentially, you will have to do 10 extra Dragon Tails to make up for the difference between Dragon Claw and Brick Break. So that's not worth it. It did seem like they were doing more than that, like the one difference. PV Poke's just saying 1. Like it's saying 6 on the first and then 7 after you lower their defense. So if that's the case, the difference in the Dragon Claw versus Brick Break on a resisted Pokemon is you should just go straight Dragon Claw anyways. Do a little less on with the Dragon Tails, but the Dragon Claws are the way to go. Let me know if you have played this out before. Because I remember watching, I just showcased a team that was that had Dugong versus Feraligatr, and basically what they did was they just went straight, instead of just going draw run, they went straight Icy Wind, and they lowered their opponent's attack enough to make a substantial difference and like flip that matchup. So I know lowering their attack multiple times is huge because now you're doing less on the fast move and less on the charge move. As opposed, right? I didn't even actually take into consideration how much more the charge move would be doing the second time around if you Brick Break and landed. Because there's a 1 difference there, but the Dragon Claw the second time around would be doing much more, right? So try that again. See if I'll be able to do it. Hackmo and Toxapex with this. Hopefully they throw the Brick Break first. They do not. Is there a way I can sim this out? Oh wait, Toxapex. I don't know how to sim this out. I'm trying to like sim it that they like. There should be a bait. Yeah, bait on. Although Dragon Claw is the bait move. No, okay, here. Brick Break, and then Dragon Claw. 26 damage. Okay, so that adds 5 on the Dragon Claw. From 21 to 26. Right? You guys get how the team works, so I'm really interested in this. Yeah, 21 to 26. So that's 5. So then suddenly you only need 5 Dragon Tails, and then it's worth it. Okay. Interesting. So okay, with that in my mind, I'll talk about it more. There's 2.5 minutes of battles left. So let's go through the 2.5 minutes of battles, and then I'll give my final thoughts on this lowering their defense and adding up there versus not. Okay, Ninetales versus double. Going to try to catch right when you are getting to a move. They do not throw. They did farm up, and they may have a payback, but like at this point, you're just trying to draw something out, so you don't shield this. They're just going to go double body slam here. Yeah, maybe they'll go payback here to take you out because they have a lot of energy. So they could go payback and take you out, or they could just go straight body slam, or they can throw a resisted wild charge for some reason. Okay. Toxapex comes in. You will get to a Thunder Punch. And then obviously you have to come Hackmo because you're not going to do anything with Ninetales. And this will force them to throw Sludge Wave. I think it's worth the shield, honestly. Because they could bait Brine, but that's kind of a risky bait. So I think it makes more sense just to go the straight Sludge Wave. And then that's a lot of energy, so you might as well just shield it. I'm going to snipe and get an extra fire spin through. And they try to catch. You can live. They dumped the wild charge, so it's probably just a body slam. So you'll have a bunch of energy coming through. You're both 3-turn fast moves, so there's not much you can do here. You might as well just launch all these charge moves. 1 and throw, because it looks like they tried to CMP you there. Maybe not on purpose, but that's what happened. I think at this point you let go, and then you go Brick Break. This is where I would go Brick Break and lower there, yeah. Because Brick Break is still neutral. The other one was resisted, and this one's neutral, so you might as well take that neutral and lower their defense. So now those Dragon Tails and Claws will add up, but I think you could probably just Dragon Tail down from this range, quite honestly. Yeah, this is an obvious one where Brick Break makes sense, where it's neutral. It's the situations where it's not neutral and is resisted. So I think with this is a lot in Hackmo, so I guess I got to put it in the thumbnail. So I guess because you get the same type of attack bonus on that as well on Brick Break. So the raw stats are 60 damage and 48 damage. Versus Dragon Claw so it is still more raw damage, but you lower your opponent's defense about 100% there. So with the Dragon Tails, in the resisted scenario, the difference between Brick Break landing and Dragon Claw landing was 11 damage. 10 damage. So you needed 10 extra Dragon Tails because Dragon Tails went up by 1 damage. However, the Dragon Claw went up by 5 damage the second time around. So technically you only need 5 Dragon Tails and 1 Dragon Claw, and then you're back to base even, and then your 6th Dragon Tail will be an advantage if you throw Brick Break. So I think a lot of the time you probably do go Brick Break. Even though it's less damage on the first one, just being able to like ramp up there. Now the 50-second timer makes it a little trickier because they can get out quicker. So you may be seeing a lot more of that where your opponent just kind of gets out quicker. And that kind of limits the strength of that. Because it's not like you're boosting your own attack by 100% and then you get to stay in and determine when you want to like reset that. It's your opponent's, if that switch timer is up, they can just reset that and then it makes less. So yeah, you can throw more super effect, not more damage Dragon Tails and more damage Dragon Claws, but if they eventually reset that anyways, then the timing comes down to it. So I guess it comes down to like, you kind of got to read a bunch of things with these moves, like switch timer, what Pokemon your opponent has left, are these moves neutral, neutral versus resisted, am I going to be able to Dragon Tail them? Is that what's going to be my win con, being able to like lower their defense once on the Mandibuzz and then just Dragon Tail down? Like that's a win con, easy to see there. So I think there's a lot of ways to play that, even though you asked about Ninetales. Anyways, to play Ninetales, one, like I said, one, you got to run Overheat. Two, Ninetales, I don't mind it on lead. Like I can play it in either spot. When I can, you Overheat, but Fire Spin, Weather Ball, with the buff damage on Fire Spin and just like the not super strong damage but decent damage on Weather Ball, you can actually just go Fire Spin, Weather Ball to double, like take out most things in 2 moves. Like I remember even before Fire Spin got buffed last season, you could just go Fire Spin, Weather Ball to take out Lickitung with the Shadow. So Ninetales does have some play, but yeah, you got to be aware that it's going to play. You got to think, if you played with Machamp before, think of it as like a Machamp with Karate Chop, Cross Chop. Those moves are not going to take out in 1 shot, but they will probably take out in 2, and they will add up quick. And that's kind of the same with Fire Spin, Weather Ball. And then, like I said, I'd rather just have that raw damage of Overheat, because Scorching Sands comes into play like twice. Again, Toxapex, Tentacruel, like that's where Scorching Sands is better, but for the most part, Resisted Overheat is better and just better. Anyways, thanks for the submission. I've got a Ninetales Galar team coming up too with Frostlass. So I'll put Frostlass in the title because I think it was pretty strong. And then I think I'll go back to Great League. You guys are making this very difficult on me because I thought that Galar Cup is going to be getting boring quick. And the first day, my morning video for the Double Grass, 5,400 views after 30 hours. Whereas the Great League, like 4,000 after like 24 hours. And then on day 2, Thursday, so this is going up Saturday, I think. But on Thursday, my Drapion Safe Swap Galar Cup only had like, it was quite low and it like lost views quickly. So I'm like, oh, you guys don't care about Galar Cup anymore. You just want Great League. But then my Great League video in the afternoon didn't do good either. So I'm just like, are you guys just sick of the league already? Again, I talked about how ebbs and flow of GBL, and especially like the second month is always the worst month, because the first month is like people want to see new Pokemon and the new meta, and the second month is people like, I get it, I don't care anymore, and the third month is I want to hit Legend, show me what to use. So we're in that second month gap there, so I need to figure out how to keep you guys interested. Anyways, that's it. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.